Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sefti Viana and my number student is A1B22379, and here I would like to present about participants. Participants is a means grouping people based on certain characteristics for research, evaluation, or analysis. For example, Gina races the car with a J. Gina is agent, the car as theme, and a Jack as instrument. And next, uh, semantic rules. Semantic rules are semantic labels used to describe the relationship between verbs or predicates and their arguments. They specify the roles participants play in events such as who initiate the action, who is affected, and what is used. And these roles are part of the lexical semantics of verbs and help to map semantic structure onto synthetic structure. Next, roles of thematic. First, agent. Agent is the one who initiates and controls the action, usually animate and attentional. Theme is the entity that is moved, affected, or described by the action. An experiencer, the participants that feels, perceives, and or experiences something. A goal is the endpoint or target towards which an action is directed, and source is the point from which an action or movement originates, and location the place where an event or action occurs, and instrument the object by an agent to carry out the action. And for example, John gave Mary a book. John as agent, Mary as recipient, and a book as theme. And example two, the wine opened the gate. Wine as cause or instrument, and gate as a theme. And next, grammatical relation and thematic rules. In English, subjects tend to be agents. Direct objects are often person or themes, and instruments usually appear in prepositional phrases. For example, Ursula broke the ice with a pyxis. The pyxis broke the ice broke. And next, agent, recipients are benefactive, theme or patient, instrument, and location. Languages follow this implicational hierarchy, meaning if a language allows a less typical role, such as instrument as a subject, it must also allow more typical roles, such agent, recipient, patient. And next, examples of subject in different roles. First, location. This cottage sleep five adults, and the table seats eight. And next, agent subject. For example, the thief stole the wallet, and Fred jumped out of the plane. And for experiencer, uh, such as I forgot the address and your cat is hungry. Recipients, she received a demand for unpaid tax, and the building suffered indirectly. And patient, the ball cracked, and Una died. And the next theme, John fell off the edge, and the arrow flew through the air. And next, verbs and thematic roles quiz. Verbs have specific requirements for thematic roles, which are part of speaker's lexical knowledge. A thematic role grid or theta grid is best roles for a verb. In the generative grammar literature, a simple example might be put verb, agent, theme, location. John is agent, put the book is theme, on the shelf is a location. Not all non-precise in sentence are argument. Some are optional agents. Next, Roland put the book. However, read does not require the location and thematic grammatical. Roland read the book. Adjuncts are not required by the verb but provide additional information such time, place, manner, etc. And this affect over order as in example in the bedroom, Roland put a book and in the bedroom, Roland read a book. Next, participant and non-participants rules. Thematic words revolve verbs classes with a shared structures. For example, transfer verb, such as give, lend, supply, pay, donate, contribute. Encode transfer from the agent's perspective. Verb like agent, theme, or recipient. Barbara as agent, why need the money as the theme, and Michelle as a recipient. Another subclass encodes transfer from the recipient's perspective, such receive, accept, borrow, buy, purchase, rent, and hire. And next, a verb as a recipient, theme, and source. Michelle as a recipient borrowed the money as a theme and from Barbara as a source. Thematic groups such as there are put to use in literature for a variety of descriptive jobs. And next, uh, problems with thematic roles. Thematic roles have varied definition among linguistics. Debate exists on distinctions between roles like patient versus theme or agent versus experiencer. These debates highlight two key problems with thematic roles, like delimiting specific roles and defining thematic roles systematically. First, delimiting specific roles. Extreme classification assign unique roles to each verb, like bit, bitter, and better. This approach reduces the usefulness or border categories like agent and patient. Example: agent, the door, the door of an action; patient, the entity affected by the action; and instrument, the tool used in the actions. Example sentence: the child cracked the mirror with his toy. Child, agent, mirror, patient, and toy instrument. And next, defining thematic roles systematically. Thematic roles should be systematically divided rather than arbitrarily assigned. And Dixon identifies types of affectiveness in patient roles, ranging from minimal contact to complete destruction. Example of different degrees of affectiveness. First, John touched the lamp with his toe, and the captain rubbed the cricket ball with a dirt. And theta was a cluster of entailments. Doughty suggests defining thematic roles using entailments shared by certain verbs. Example entailments for agent in sentence like X murders, yeah, X nominates, yeah, etc. X performs a volitional act, X intends the action to have, and X affect X causes Y to change state, X moves are externally. This method allows for flexible role classification rather than rigid categorize. And next, prototype based approach. Now, tip proposed that roles are prototypes rather than fixed categories. Two basic prototypes. First, proto-agent. Volitional involvement, a sentence or awareness cause, causes change in other entity and moves relative to others. And the second proto-patient undergoes a chain of state incremental theme casually affected by another entity and stationary in relation to movement. Some arguments in a sentence may partially miss this role rather than fully fitting into on one category. The next example of prototype rules. Proto-agent example, Meiji pruned the roses. Meiji is clear agent. And next, John felt the heat as the aircraft door opened. John is an experiencer less typical agent, and the scalpel cut through the muscle. Scalpel is an instrument, not an agent. Proto-patient example. The roses in Meiji pruned the roses. Have all patient characteristic and the game in Roberto watched the game. Let's change of state making it less typical. And next, motivation for identifying thematic roles. First, thematic roles help linguists understand argument structures of verbs, and they show how semantic structure map onto syntax. And they are used to analyze cross linguistic variations. And understanding roles supports synthetic analysis and translation, second language learning, and natural language processing, or NLP. Voice is a grammatical category that allows speakers flexibility in portraying thematic roles in in sentence. Many language distinguish between active voice and passive voice. Active voice and passive voice. Active voice is when the subject is the agent or the performer of the action. Passive voice allows a shift in focus from the agent, performer on of the action to the patient or receiver of the action. Comparison of active and passive voice in English. Active, Billy groomed the horses. Passive, the horses were groomed by Billy. And in passive construction, in the patient becomes the subjects, the agent may be omitted or appear as a professional presence with by. The next, function of passive voice. First, for grounding the patient, demoting or omitting the agent, shifting sentence perspective. An example of different thematic roles and subject in passive voice. Theme, this money was donated to the school. Perceived, the UFO was seen by just two people and recipients. He was given a camera by his grandmother. Next, cross, and next, cross-linguistic comparison of passive constructions. First, variation in passive structures. While many languages have passive constructions, their structure and function vary widely. Uh, English passive types. First, be passive. Mary was showed and proposed. And get passive. Mary got showed and proposed. Suggest a greater involvement by Mary. And second, modal voice. The modal voice is used when the subject undergoes an action, often without a clearly expressed agent. The modal voice emphasizes affectedness, meaning the subject is affected by the action. Functions of modal voice. First, natural instructives. The gates open smoothly, no agent, but the subject undergoes a process. And the second, bodily activity and emissions. He is afraid. Minerva is used for psychological states and reflexives. He was himself. Subject and object refer to the same entity. And for auto-benefactives, he took a share of for himself. Action benefits the subject. And next, comparison of active, passive, and minor voice. Voice type active. Characteristic the subject is the agent. Example Billy groomed the horses. Passive characteristic the subject is the patient. Agent may be omitted. Example the horses were groomed by Willy. And the middle voice the characteristic of the middle the subject is affected by the action. Agent is the agents is not mentioned. Example, the gates open very smoothly. I think that's all for me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.